Next question, how much do you earn?
So welcome back to the Every Trade channel. For those who don't know who I am, my name's Chris, and with my partner Alex, we own a construction company, a property development company. We've recently acquired a bespoke joinery company, a grab and aggregates company, and we're into all sorts. Last week on the channel, we did a Q&A about running and owning a construction company and property development, but we couldn't get through all the questions. So, back by popular demand, Hollywood, my videographer, is going to ask some more construction-based questions. So this is probably aimed at you guys who are builders, tradesmen, or interested about getting into the trade. I'm going to be as honest and as open as I can because I want to deliver up as much value to you guys. So let's have it. So let's begin. I've scanned the questions, but I don't really know what's coming. So Hollywood, fire away.
Question 1, how do you price jobs?
Okay, this is a big subject matter and we touched on this in the last episode. Everybody has got their own way of pricing jobs. Some people go into a room or look at an extension or a project and just get a gut feeling for how long something's going to take and how much it should cost. Others are very more methodical, will measure everything out, off plans, write it all out, etc, etc. Whatever works for you, works for you. But all I can do is tell you how we work. We're fortunate enough to have a full-time estimator, Danny, that sits here. His background is in pricing up big groundwork projects, glass production, etc. And he started with us a few years ago and I trained him to work exactly how I have always priced work, because before we got Danny, I priced the work. And essentially, the way I worked it out was, I looked at all the overhead in the business. So that's like office wage, rent, insurance, tax, fuel, not materials and labour, that was separate. And I worked out an overhead. Let's just say that's £15 an hour. So I worked out, of all the lads I had, let's just say 40, because that's what we're running with at the moment, and divided that down by how many working hours, sellable hours in a week. And let's say that gave me a figure of £15, my overhead charge. Then I added up all my labour rate per hour, etc., divided that down, meaned it out, so how many it was, by how much we were paying them, and let's say that's £20 an hour. So my labour is on £20 an hour and my overhead is £15 an hour. Add the two together, £35 an hour. So let's say we looked at a job and we say, right, that'll take 8 hours, it's 8 times 35. Then you add your profit. But profit is the cream. Don't even worry about the profit. The profit gets added on right at the end. What you need to know is that you're making money on the cost of your business, yeah? So all the cost of your business is covered in your pricing. So then the way we like to work is we'll measure everything and we've got a meterage rate of everything. We use some software, so we use HBXL and a couple of others to help us price, but often it's based on our own set of rates, and we'll know how long it takes to dig a footing out, and we've got a meterage rate on that. We've got our own based on our own experience. Collect data as you go and say, right, that job there, it had 10 linear meters to dig out, it took us 2 days, and there was, I don't know, 2 grabs. And then divide that down and work out a meterage rate. That's the way we've worked, and we're always learning and rechecking our rates. But the way we like to work is off plan, everything measured. Now, if there's like a bit of a fiddly bit of a job where you go into a room and something needs repairing, something needs fixing, you allow an amount of time. And I always work in increments of half a day or a full day. And that is what we're selling here, is time and materials plus profit. Time, materials plus profit. So everybody has their own way of working to price jobs. Like I say, some people walk in a room and know exactly from experience how long it's going to take, but I couldn't work like that because I wasn't a trade. I had an idea of how long bits took, but I had to devise my own. And we're really lucky now that we've built all that into systems that our estimator can tap in simple dimensions and sizes into our system, and it tells exactly how many screws we need, how many plasterboards we need, and how much time we should allot to that. And then we use our hourly rate, which we're always reviewing because our overheads change, and then we're putting them together and that spits out a price. What I will say is, if you guys are getting so many inquiries that you're finding that you're pricing up every night like I was till 3 in the morning honestly ridiculous o'clock and it's ruining your health and maybe your private life, think about using an external QS or estimator. Danny, our estimator, works for other builders through us. So we'll let other builders email their drawings, their takeoffs to us, and I'll let them use Danny's services, and we'll do that. And we're really competitive on that. There is other estimating companies out there, but our pricing, our estimates are based on real world experience of owning a building company. We're always reviewing how long things take, and when something new comes into the market, we'll work on that. So yeah, I need to really do a separate video on that because there's so much I could talk about with pricing. I know it's a massive issue for all you guys, because if you catch a cold on a job, and trust me, I've done it, it's not nice. But I don't want this video just to be about pricing. So if you're interested in me doing more on pricing, put it in the comments and I'll promise I'll do a good standalone video, and I'll try not to rabbit on as much as I am now. Next question.
Next question. How do you balance work life and family life?
That's a tough one. And I know that a lot of other tradesmen and builders wrestle with that subject quite a lot. To be honest with you, I've been doing this for 15 years and I'm still learning. I've got 3 children and I'd say I've become a better dad as my children have been born. My first child, my daughter, who's nearly 15, it was tough. I was basically building this business from the ground up, and I feel guilt that I didn't spend enough time seeing her grow up. I felt like even when I was in the room, I wasn't actually in the room, if you know what I mean. I was always distant. I was always thinking about my phone, about emails. I would be distracted. I'd get a text and my head would go to mush. I've got a lot better at dealing with that now because I've got a team around me, and I really can't stress enough the importance of having people around you that can trust, that can filtrate a lot of the sort of overwhelming amount of information that you'll get when you're trying to grow a business. I really struggle with holidays, like my wife dreads booking holidays because I'm not there. I struggle. I'm always worried about what's happening back over here, and I've got a great team that I know I can trust, but it's just all part of being in business and this being my baby. I feel like I gave birth to this company, seriously, and I've watched it sort of grow, struggle, flourish, and it's very hard to let go. But I honestly believe you've got to try and leave work at the door, and that is easier said than done. Like, it took me years to get any kind of decent sleep pattern, especially when it's been stressful, like when we've had tough times with money and tough times with being too busy or maybe not busy enough. It's hard, and you never quite know when you run your own business or you're your own boss what will happen next. The phone will ring and it can change the whole complexion of your day, your week, your month, even your year. So yeah, I found it hard and I'm still learning, but what I will say is make sure you do try and find that balance, because I've got a range of ages. My kids 15 down to 7, and they grow up so fast, and it makes me sad with my 15-year-old that I didn't see. It feels like I've missed out on so much, and I know a lot of you guys wrestle with the same thing because you've told me. So yeah, it's a work in progress. Next question, Hollywood.
Next question. What are your most profitable jobs?
Well, in theory, every job should be profitable, right? So if we're talking profit, some of our smallest jobs have got bigger margins. I'd say some of our jobs have got 60, 70% margins on. But in terms of actual revenue, turnover and money in, then obviously not going to be enough to sustain the business. So we do a mix. I've always thought the way to build a construction company that's going to be around for many years is to have multi-disciplines, and that's why we're called Every Trade. That was my idea when I first set this business up, was to have this sort of supermarket of trades and services. You know, you've got your shelves where you do your extensions where you'll make okay margin. It's big numbers, but the margins aren't great. But then you've got your more specialist stuff like the heating side of the business. We've got Every heating business that can make great margins. You know, that can make more margin a day than an extension can make you in 6 months. It's crazy. But that's not always there. So I like the mix. Our model is time, is boots on the ground. We make money, in theory, from every man out there. And we also make a revenue from the materials we supply. We supplied over £2 million worth of materials to our projects last year. If you can make a 20% margin on that, that's not a bad little business. So I wouldn't say that we have a particular type, a highly profitable type of job. I just said a job done well and run right should always be profitable. But the key thing is review your profit, yeah? Maybe I'll talk about this another time, but is to drill down, keep records of all you spend on projects. We use software, we used to use Excel documents. Whatever you do, whatever works for you, know every purchase. So at the end of a job, once it's finished, you can look at it and go, okay, this is what we projected and this is what we made. Right, let's do more of that. Let's do less of that. Simple, really, isn't it? Next question, Hollywood.
Next question. How do you work out what to pay your tradesmen?
Oh, this is a loaded one. Because the way I look at it, I want to pay everyone as much as possible because I want people to have great lives. Because I genuinely believe that a happy tradesman produces a better job and is happier about coming into work and working for a company. However, we work in a competitive industry where it is a little bit commoditized in that every other van on the road is a builder or a tradesman or something. So the way we work, we put job adverts out there and we'll give a flavour of what we're able to pay, which is usually in line with what the market is paying. But when a builder comes in or a tradesman comes in and speaks to me to get a job, I sometimes say, okay, what's your rate? And sometimes they go, they don't know. Sometimes they'll come back with a ridiculous one. Sometimes they'll low ball it. And what I like to do is try and land on a fair number that I know is right for what we can earn from them. So I always say to anyone that works for us, I'll pay you £1,000 a day if you can earn us £500 profit. I don't care what people earn. I want people to earn as much as possible. I want them to have amazing lives. Nothing gives me a happier feeling than when my guys take their family on great holidays, or when someone buys their first house or buys themselves a car or whatever, or some of my guys buy themselves an amazing new tool. So what I try and do is basically, I want people to feel like they're getting what they deserve. I always try and leave a little bit of room as well, so we've got something to work towards, because I love the idea of being able to reward people for good performance. It's hard though, because as I said before, we've got overheads. We run an expensive machine here. This is not a business that's lean in that we've got a lot of expense to offer the level of service we want. We own plant. We've got brand new vans. Our oldest van is three years old, maybe 4 years old. We now got trucks. I've got staff. This all costs money, so you have to be sensible. You have to know your numbers. So to answer the question, I'll pay everyone as much as I can. I really will, and we always review it because I want people to feel valued, because that's the way I would want to feel if I had a job. I'm in KTM's office. Next question, Hollywood.
Next question. How do you know if a new tradesman is any good?
Well, that's a tricky one. We kind of touched on this in the last Q&A. What I will say is, you don't know until they're out in the field. Anyone can give a good interview. Anyone. There's a lot of egos in the industry, and a lot of people say I'm the best at this and the best at that. To be honest, I don't pay attention to that. When I interview someone, as I said in the last Q&A, I try and find a bit about their family life, what they're like as people, whether I think they'll be reliable, whether I think we can work with them and whether they'll fit in our culture. But the proof of the eating is always in the pudding. So we put them out on site, and we've lucky now that we've got really good guys that are great. I've got Sean, one of my foremen. I like to put new starters with him. So he'll road test them, see what they're like, see if he thinks they'll fit in with our culture. And if they're good, then we then send them out on their own. But don't get me wrong, some slip through the net. They pass my test, they pass Sean's test, and they're still no good. Sometimes you get really good guys that are reliable but haven't got skills to pay the bills. Some are such brilliant tradesmen but are unreliable. Some are both, some are all. It's difficult. It's one of the hardest things. It's what stumped our growth. At one point, I reckon I could have had 150 tradesmen out there because there was so much work post-COVID, say. But we couldn't find the men. And as I always say, you've you've got to kiss a lot of frogs until you meet your prince or princess. And when you find your princes, you've got to look after them. But it is a big challenge. So to answer the question, you've got to put them out there. You've got to have eyes on them, and you've got to review them. Take people on a probationary period, and if they pass that, put them on a long probationary period. Don't let people get too comfortable. Just always review them. So I've just come into the break area for a little drink. Borrowed someone's 40 cup. Obviously I'm not 40. How would you reckon I am? I've asked this before in the comments and I got some mixed answers. Put it in the comments how I think I am. Here's the clue. So, next question.
Next question. How do you always make sure that you guys are always busy?
That is another really tough conundrum, because as much as I get kept awake by financial issues and whatnot in this company, the thought of having no work scares me a lot. We're lucky in that we've built a brand, built a reputation, and we've got a great customer base, so it's rare that we're not busy. Sometimes we're months and months ahead. I mean, as I say, post-COVID, we had more work than we could handle. I mean, it literally was to a point where we were going to fall over. So what I do is I use social media. I'm new to the YouTube game. I should have got on this ages ago. I was thinking about doing it before any of the big boys do it, but I didn't, and I regret that, but I'm here now. I did a lot on Instagram and Facebook, and what I do, I tell the story. I've mentioned this in our weekly videos. I always try and post every day, be it a reel about something insignificant in the business, be it about a job that's gone really well, a job that's gone badly, a new member of the team, just a general sort of thought I've had. I make notes on my phone and I write a post about them. I just tell the story. I'm lucky in that I'm quite a good writer. I enjoy writing. I'm quite a creative person. So it's not that hard for me, but I know a lot of people do struggle. Alex, my business partner, he struggles to create content because he's not a natural writer. He's got a lot better at it, actually, and I'll help him, but I can't help him enough because we've got all these multiple businesses we've got a market for. So it's hard. What I will say is reputation and brand is everything. If the world stopped tomorrow, and this happened during COVID, I felt relaxed because I thought the best business with the strongest brand and the best reputation will be first in line when the work comes back, and that's what happened to us. The work came back. So yeah, you've just got to always be out there, do a good job, price work fast, be fair on price, do a good job, and they come back. It's as simple as that. Next question.
Next question. What was your first year in business like?
Well, actually, I've got my glamorous assistant here, Dave from DJProjectss. I'm not sure if you've heard of their channel. He's on FaceTime. He's always FaceTime me, particularly when I'm on the toilet for some reason, Dave. Why is that?
I just like it, mate. I like that.
Well,
personal touch with you.
You are, mate. I'd say me and Dave, well, we say we're like brothers from other mothers now, aren't we? So this is that. You're going to be in the weekly video as well. So the question is, Dave, what was your first year in business like? I'll tell you mine first, because I know you like.
First, mate.
Yeah, I know you like the battery. How long we got left on the battery? So my first year in business, well, basically you do everything you can to get work in, and I personally found it pretty scary that I left a decent, pretty secure job from earning okay money, not loads to be honest, to earning nothing. I think I had 250 quid in the bank, yeah, and I had a baby on the way. So it was pretty scary, but once you start winning your first job, I remember we won a job for like 100 quid, then we won a job for £1,000, and then we won a job for like £3,000. I thought I'd won the lottery, and then you can feel the momentum coming, and that then encourages to keep going, and that's when I made a decision that I wanted this to be quite a big company. So I went out trying to find other tradesmen, I went out to buy vehicles, I got more ambitious and made contacts. So yeah, it was scary, but I think in our first year, and this is 2009, we turned over 120 odd grand, which I was blown away with because I didn't think we'd make a wage. What about you, Dave? What was your first year in business like?
Completely different to yours because I had 6 months worth of work booked in.
Did you?
Yeah, so mine was less scary, but I was still supported by Burner.
Yeah.
So we still had a wage coming in.
Yeah.
He supported me for the first year.
Yeah.
But I had 6 months worth of work booked in, but I was still grabbing every little bit of work I could and doing every little job I could. Anything that come through, I'd do it. Whether it was cleaning gutters, the garden clearances, anything.
So were you in a full-time job when you started D&J, Dave, or
No.
You weren't? No.
No, I used to do D&J. So I used to do it at weekends.
Yeah.
So I still had a full-time job, and then at weekends I would go out and do garden landscaping to friends, family, and built it up from there.
Yeah.
And then it got to the stage where it was just taking over. So I made that transition to hand my notice in.
Yeah.
Burn the bridge, by the way.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it.
Right. So if it didn't work out, I had that job security because it did say I could come back.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about going back to getting a job? Have you ever thought about getting a job?
Say that again, buddy.
Have you ever thought about just going back and getting a job?
I would be able to, I don't think.
I know, I'd be unemployable as well, but I mean, it's not for everyone.
Once you've been to the stage where we're both at now,
Yeah.
I don't think you could ever go back.
No. No.
It'd be hard to
You couldn't.
take orders from someone else.
Yeah. And even though it is hard and we deal with a lot of stress, and I know Dave deals with a lot of stress and I deal with a lot of stress as well, it gives you, having your own business gives you a level of freedom that you won't get by having a job, I don't think. However, some people are really happy having a job, aren't they, Dave? And we need those people as well, so it's...
Yeah, 100%. Some people don't like the stress and are just happy getting up in the morning knowing they got job security and someone else is looking after them.
Yeah, and you need those people, and to be honest with you, some of those people with not necessarily as much ambition as me and you are like my best assets, and yeah, so
you're only as good as your workforce, mate.
it is. You're only as good. They are your products on your shelves. Dave, your answer was longer than my answer. So what are you on about?
It's just when your comments, mate, they say, "Oh, he likes the sound of his own voice."
I know I'm gonna get grief again now for having you. I know I do like the sound of my own voice actually, even though it's quite annoying. I like the sound of your voice as well. Trying to work on my Nottingham accent.
You,
Trying to work on my Nottingham accent.
Sharing the love, innit, mate?
It is, mate, and we do that, don't we? But yeah, right. I better finish my Q&A, Dave. Anyway, so I'll FaceTime you back in a couple of hours. I'll FaceTime you back when I'm in bed. All right.
All right, but catch you in a bit.
See you in a bit, pal. Yeah. Top guy, Dave. Top guy. Next question.
What is your diet like with you being so busy?
What do you reckon? No, my diet, I don't necessarily eat bad food, but I don't like enough healthy food. I've tried all sorts. I'd love, because I'm not the tallest, I'm not sure if you've noticed, I've tried to lose a few pounds because there's not a lot great about being small and fat. So I'm trying to shed a few pounds, but to be honest with you, I'd say I eat more for function. I eat when I'm hungry. A lot of people say in the office, sometimes I just get a bowl of cereal for my lunch. Sometimes my wife will make me something, I'll have last night's leftovers and things like that. But yeah, I don't think I eat great, but I don't tend to eat junk food. Every now and again I'll get a McDonald's and things like that, but it is really hard to be busy and eat right is hard, and without planning and preparation, that's hard. I used to drink Huels and stuff like that, and they're great, and you get like nutrition inside you. I know you get Y food as well. Dave from D&J loves them for some reason. But I didn't really get much satisfaction out of drinking a shake. So yeah, not great my diet, but I'm trying to improve it. Next question.
Do you have any hobbies outside of work?
So this is where I sound really sad. Work is my hobby, and I can speak for Alex as well in that I love building businesses. So of a night time, if I'm not messing about trying to find something to buy, a piece of kit, a bit of plant, I'm thinking about new services and trades we can add on. Forever building spreadsheets to try and flesh out and sort of stress test the business, or I'm speaking to Alex or KTM about a new business idea or service I've had. I do play football once a week, although I've been injured recently, so I do like trying to play football, although I can't run very well. I cannot run very well. But yeah, I mean, I've recently just renovated my house, and that's taken up 3 years of my life that I'll never get back. That was stressful. But no, I'd say chilling, watching YouTube. I consume far too much YouTube content. But yeah, I'd say business. Like, I just absolutely love growing and building businesses. It's my life's work. Has been since I've been 14. My nickname at school was 𝗕𝗨𝗚𝗟𝗗. I've always loved coming up with ideas and trying to turn £1 into two. It's what I do. Next question.
Have you ever had a job go wrong? If so, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, we've had loads of jobs go wrong. It's part and parcel. I'd say we've been doing it 15 years and I couldn't tell you how many jobs have gone wrong, but it happens because we're humans at the end of the day and we're relying on humans. Sometimes, or often, the reason a job goes wrong is because we've not planned it properly. That doesn't happen that much, or we've not had enough labour, we've started it. Again, I bang on this post-COVID period where we just took on too much work, we didn't have enough good labour, and jobs overran, and they took far too long. We've had jobs where a tradesman's had an off day, even the best tradesman have an off day, and drop a bollock, as we say, up north, and then we've had to own the situation, and that is my advice, is own it. Hold your hands up, do not defend the undefendable. If you've got a job go wrong, go to your customer and say, look, we've underpriced it. Look, we've underestimated how long it's going to take. However, always, if you're interested about retaining and building your reputation, finish a job, put it right. So we've made mistakes and we've had jobs go over where, I'm not joking, and I mentioned this last time, it would have been cheaper for us to give a customer tens of thousands of pounds and say, use a different builder, and we'd still have more money left at the end of the job. But I've always finished the job. So yeah, I just think it's owning it, and sometimes jobs just go against you. Often it's because of bad planning and not having the right team available. Like, I always used to say yes to people, and it used to make KTM's life a nightmare. We'd get all this work, and I'd say yes. And then have to try and juggle it all. Don't do that anymore. I'm a lot more disciplined. We plan the work months in advance, and we don't start a job unless we know we can finish it. But yeah, if a job does go wrong, first thing, don't beat yourself up. It happens to the best of us, to the big boys, but own it. Hold your hands up. Engage your customers, have open dialogue, and work together. Involve customers, because a problem shared is a problem halved. Involve your customers, explain what you're dealing with, and then put it right. It is cold in Manchester today. It's meant to be April. Next question.
How do you sack people?
Well, it's horrible doing it, but every now and again you have to let people go because they're not up to the job, or they have generally not performed. So I've had it recently where I've had like great tradesmen just go on bad runs, and I'll always try and support them. I'll try and see what the issue is. It's hard because people have their own personal problems, and if I can get to the root of that and they're honest with me, I'll try and help them and I'll give them enough chances. But sometimes you just got to say to people, look, it's not working out and I think you'll be better off suited elsewhere. And again, I'll try and support people through that. We're lucky in that we haven't got a high turnover of staff because we do try and look after our staff, but every now and again we have to let people go, and normally people fall on the sword, and yeah, sometimes I just let them do it because it's the easy way out, because it's not nice. I mean, I'm quite strong in business and I love my business enough to make bold decisions and strong decisions. However, I don't like sacking people. But what I will say is, if you do leave a company, or even if you let someone go, don't burn bridges. Like Dave said before, don't burn bridges, because you never know what circumstances will change. I've had people just leave us with no notice, drop vans off, and you know what, it's just not the way to do it, because you're just going to ruin a relationship that could one day help you out. So yeah, I would say do it respectfully, give open and honest feedback, talk to people, give people chances, and at some point you've got to admit defeat and let them go. What do you reckon to this beast? If you've not watched our weekly episodes, you'll see how we took this from almost a write-off because it nearly killed someone on the motorway to absolute beast, which we're not quite finished with yet. However, next question.
How much do you earn?
Ha! Not enough. No way did someone ask that. These are genuine questions. I don't know, I do okay, and I believe in having multiple revenue streams, so I try and earn money from multiple places. A lot of my income comes from the construction because that's where I spend most of my time. I don't really earn anything from the property business at the moment because Alex and I have made a decision to get that as big as we can and build that up. I've got a bit from an architectural company that we have. I take enough to give my family a nice life. However, I probably should take a lot more, and some weeks my tradesmen earn more than me, but I don't care because that's what happens. We're building for the future. I want to build this to be a generational wealth producing company. Alex and I want our property portfolio to bankroll our retirement and give us amazing opportunities down the line. So yeah, I don't really know what I earn. Overall, I take what I need to pay my bills and feed my family, but actually it's probably quite modest considering that the group companies now probably turn over 5-6 million. So, you know, yeah, not enough. So welcome to our workshop. If you follow our weekly episode of Behind the Build, you have seen down here, we recently recruited a mechanic, Dale. Initially, we brought him in to look after our own fleet of 40 vans, but now that's grown legs and he's looking after vans for other people as well. He also looks after some of our plant. This is our Tigerbite 425 mini crusher that we use for crushing on site. We've also got a bigger crusher that we use in our yard, and then we recycle aggregate and sell it out. Next question, Hollywood.
Next question. Have you ever had any financial issues? If so, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, like every business, we've had our times where the wheels have nearly come off the tracks, and a lot of the time that's come from probably me trying to force the growth of the business. As I've said, I'm very ambitious. I'm always looking for ways to expand. Like this was 26 grand. You know, arguably we didn't need it at the time, but I knew what I wanted to do with it. And now we use it, it goes out on hire, it's been on site today. But yeah, we've been in times, again, I bang on about it, but post-COVID was my worst time because everything was flying. Everyone had like the bounce back loans and the recovery loans and Sybil's loans, and we felt cash rich, but then all building materials went through the roof and we'd price jobs based on pre-COVID prices, but we honoured the material prices, and yeah, that really got tough to the point where I had to basically decide, is it worth keeping going? And again, I might do a standalone video about how we turn the businesses around, but basically I decided to crack on. So we took on some extra finance, we put money in our own personal funds into the business, Alex and I. We moved money about in our companies. We're lucky that we've got a multi-company strategy, so we managed to really deploy and move money about. We had to sell one of the houses that we own, and we basically recapitalised the business, and it took us to now, we're in 2024, to really steady the ship. But it can happen in business. Cash flow in business, especially in construction, is like that, and it's a scary roller coaster. But yeah, it's you just got to decide if it's worth going and keep going, and then just stick at it, be resilient, be tenacious, and don't give up. And the only reason I've had any success in my career, the only reason we've built what we've built, is because we kept going, didn't stop. So yeah, I think this one needs a carburetor exhaust oil thing. I have no idea about mechanics. However, I know how to recruit people that know things about mechanics, and I know how to invest in the equipment to give them the tools to make money. And it's great seeing this service take off and people ring to use us to repair their cars and vans. It's great. Next question.
Next question is, what is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure, yogurts. Absolutely love yogurts. I could eat 1,000 a day. I'd live off yogurts if I could. YouTube. I love YouTube. I spend far too much time on YouTube, and probably looking at diggers, machines. I've learned so much about machines from YouTube, and if I could, and I'm going to try, I'm going to own loads. I'd say buying things like, you can probably see behind me, I couldn't operate any of these tools. However, I love owning them, and I like owning Hilti tools as well, because in my opinion, they're the best. So yeah, I think again, this is how sad my life is. It's buying things for the business. That's my guilty pleasure. Next question, Hollywood.
Next question. What kind of music are you into?
These are varied questions. I am a very eclectic man. I love music. I will say that music's got me through some tough times. So I'm crazy in that I like a random mix. If you went and looked at my music collection on my phone, it would be all over that. You'd find the Beatles, which I absolutely love. I've got a John Lennon tattoo, which I've mentioned before. I love hip hop. He's a nutter, or I can't say that word anymore, but he's an interesting guy, but I love Kanye West. I think he is a genius of his time. How he's managed to stay relevant after, 20 odd years. I respect that. I like it, even pop music, man. I've got a little bit of Spice Girls on my phone. I just like to change. I like a bit of classical music. But I'd say if I had to go to, it'd be a mixture of hip hop and the Beatles. What a mad mix of music that is. Next question.
Next question. If you could move to another city, where would it be?
I wonder if that means to work in another city. So I love Manchester. It's where I was born. It's the home of the greatest football team in the world. Not currently. Manchester United. To where my family are from. But I also love Liverpool. I'd say my heart is massively in Liverpool. I do a lot of business in Liverpool. I've worked in Liverpool for the last sort of 8 years as well. My business partner's from Liverpool. The Beatles are from Liverpool. But you know what? I quite like a crack at London in business. I've done stuff in London. I've worked in Mayfair. I've worked in Kensington. I've worked in the south, but not that much. I've had people offer to set up franchises down there. But yeah, I would like a crack at London. I love London. And in the UK, around the world, I love New York. I'm going there soon. I love Paris. But I'd love to try and test the Everytrade brand in London. So this is our tool area and it needs a good tidying. I do hire some of our stuff, but I love owning the stuff and I'm a bit obsessed with 𝗕𝗨𝗘𝗔𝗧. They've recently brought out this Neuron range, which is basically battery powered. This is the TE2000. I've got the 3000 version, which is 110. This is battery powered. Got the 𝗕𝗨𝗘𝗍. I've got the full suite of 𝗕𝗨𝗘 breakers and drills. What we do, we get them on fleet, so it's called 𝗕𝗨𝗘 Fleet. So what that means is you can hire them, but they're also insured from theft, and if they break down, they'll replace it. It's a great thing. It's expensive, but you get what you pay for. Next question, Hollywood. Let's have it. Come on.
Next question. How do you manage all your companies?
Wow, that is a tough question. I'm still learning, as I've said. I believe massively in a couple of things. People. So in the construction side, I have brought KTM, Kieran, from being a university graduate. He came to me on a bit of an internship for 4 weeks. As soon as he finished his university, this is 12 years ago now, I think it was, I recruited him full-time into the business and I've taught him every aspect of the business and he's now our operations manager. To be honest with you, he should really have a directorship, but he's not that way inclined. That he doesn't want authority or need authority. He just wants to come to work, do a brilliant job and feel like he's contributing. It is by far the best recruit I've ever had. He's like a brother to me and I love him like a brother. I can trust him with anything. He's got access to the bank accounts, he knows all my problems, he knows all the secret sauce, and I hope that I get to work with him for the rest of my career. I've got a business partner, Alex, which helps. I didn't used to have one. That's a relatively new development. Well, I'd say it's 2020, so it's quite new. And we now share a lot of the load. I also believe massively in software. If there's a software solution to a problem, we always try and go for it. So we've got software on the builder project management side of the company. We've got software for the grabs and the aggregate side of the company. We've now got a ticketing software for this mechanical side of the business. In preferred, we've got a window measuring, takeoff, pricing piece of software. In the property side, we've got a property management software and we're looking at another one to do sales. So we spend a lot of money on software. If you want to know the names of any of these softwares, put it in the comments below and we'll try and tell you and we'll try and put you in touch to make sure you get a good deal. Also, whilst you're at it, Why don't you like this video? And if you're not subscribed, look at the content I'm trying to give you here, man. Look at the knowledge I'm trying to pass on. Please subscribe to the video. But yeah, people, software, systems, same thing. I'll tell you what, Hollywood takes no prisoners. He has really grilled me. Next question.
Next question is, how do you insure your vehicles?
So I think we've got about 40 vehicles in the fleet. We did have more actually. So that's mostly vans, a couple of pickups, some 4x4 trucks, and 3 HGVs now. We used to, believe it or not, I used to have them all on individual policies because I had a fleet policy back in the day, and what I found was, and I probably didn't set it up right, we would insure a vehicle, say someone had a bump in it, which happens, it'd like basically wipe out the whole policy. So I somehow, in my infinite wisdom, decided to set everyone up on individual policies, and then literally it was, you think about it, 40 odd, actually 50 vehicles at a time. Every week I was on hold to an insurance company. It was terrible. So about 4 years ago we switched to a fleet policy, and I used a broker, which was one of the smartest things I ever did. I don't deal direct with the insurer. I know they're probably making a bit out of it, but now if we get a vehicle, I send an email and I update the database myself, and it's on fleet straight away. If we have to remove one, I email them and it's removed from fleet, and then they send an adjustment charge once a quarter. So I would say get a fleet policy if you're running more than 1 or 2 vehicles, and if you need a referral, bang it in the comments and I'll put you in touch with my broker, who is absolutely brilliant. They also do my public liability, employer liability, and a couple of other policies that we've got. So yeah, it's a fleet policy. So that is it for this construction company based Q&A. I hope I've delivered some value to you guys. If I've missed a question, and I know we had loads that we couldn't cover, bang them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer it. As this page grows, it's harder to keep on top of the comments, but I really am trying my hardest to answer everyone's questions. We're here, this channel's here to try and provide a warts and all view of what it's like to start, grow and run a construction company. So be nice in the comments, because we really are trying to give up time to deliver some value. Please, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. It helps us massively and inspires us to make even more content. I know that at the start of my journey, in the middle of my journey, even now, if someone else was delivering content like this, I would want to watch it. And I hope you guys feel the same. Come back on Sunday for our normal Behind the Build episode. We've had a busy week. This is Every Trade Behind the Build. See you later, guys.